A lot of people end up with an agent or a broker whose sole interest is selling your business. And the primary interest is not necessarily you getting the right deal, the best value. It's you selling your business, right? An advisor's role is always look out for you, your interests. And I always come back to value. Is the value there? Is the value fair? Is it a good deal? Is it not a good deal? How can we make it better? And then finding a path through the woods is the advisor's role. Once you get through the woods, it's the broker's job to get the deal done. Arriving at the right deal is the advisor's job. So an important distinction.
I'm John Wright, and you're listening to Affiliate BI, the business intelligence and affiliate marketing podcast brought to you by Snapstride.
Welcome to the Affiliate BI podcast. Today we're chatting with Lou Viveros, who is the founder of Market Solutions LLC, which is a management consulting firm based in California's Silicon Valley, where he spent most of his 40-year business career. He's been involved in the SEO industry as an advisor to a number of businesses, including some M&A work. And he's also the founder of SEO Coach, which is simply put, helping small business owners conquer the challenges they face at each stage of their business journey. I think the world needs more coaches. So Lou, welcome to the show.
Thanks, John. Thanks for having me.
And so I want to get started at looking at your work history. Like, I know you from only probably the second half, which is the involvement in the SEO space. But looking at your background, it seems that you had an early start into tech and the world of games, as in like video games. And I think there's some M&A stories along the way. So I just want to ask how you got started in that area.
Yeah, you said my second half. It's probably my 10th. It's really only the last few years that I've gotten sucked into the vortex of SEO, and we can wind the path to how we got there. But basically, yeah, I started in video games. I've been in the Silicon Valley since the early 1980s. 80s and 90s were very video game heavy. Worked at Activision during the early Nintendo and Sega days. Entrepreneurial bug hit me and ended up wandering out on my own. Started a pretty successful video game marketing agency, clients like Electronic Arts and Sega and Sony and many others. So that all went well, and I took it a step further and ended up starting a couple of video game studios where we actually published a lot of product and did that through 80s and 90s. But all that business experience essentially led to the creation of Market Solutions in 1999. And that's what I've been doing since for this entire millennium. And in that, it's been really serving big companies, big businesses. Opened up a lot of channels for Logitech, worked with some regional launches for BlackBerry, OtterBox, a lot of global brands that really did pretty well with. Then, I'm going to say it's about 4 or 5 years ago now, Matt Diggity, who I think everyone in the SEO industry is familiar with, was involved in an M&A deal. His attorney, who I know from other activity, said to him, "You really need some guidance on this because I can give you legal advice, but there's a lot of things that are going to be business decisions. And lawyers, for all they're good on the legal side, business decisions are something that they rarely like to get involved with." I connected with Diggity. Had never heard of him. I knew very little about SEO. I was totally naive as to what was going on behind my Google search. And it was like pulling back the curtain on the Wizard of Oz. But look what's going on behind the Google search. So I really opened my eyes. Diggity and I really hit it off, connected very well. And I've been involved with him ever since. That particular deal that we came together on ended very well for him and for his partners. And success breeds confidence. I've been part of Diggity World ever since. And then you start connecting dots from Diggity to everybody else, and have now been involved in a lot of SEO projects, still without knowing a whole lot about SEO, but really knowing business. And the way we like to say it is business intelligence is readily available. You can research, you can find out, you can get informed about business intelligence. Business wisdom only comes with experience. And 40 years of doing this, there's a lot of experience there, that little nuggets that can surface that are very valuable to people who haven't been through that before. So really, it's been dispensing business wisdom to a lot of good people in SEO, and it's an industry I've really come to admire and enjoy.
Yeah, I think you said something which I know I can relate to. Lawyers typically don't do like your standard advisory. You ask them to do contracts and all that stuff, they'll do that. But it's very rare they'll step in and go, hey, do you think this is a good idea? And I have one small experience where I was going through a term sheet and the lawyer was like, you do realize what this term sheet is about, right? So it's not often that you have people looking out on your side. And just in my limited experience of dealing with some people in the M&A space, it's a whole different ballgame. And it sounds like not enough people get these advisors to guide them through the what ifs or how to make sure you either don't get screwed or more rather how to get the best value out of that.
Yeah. And there's an important point there that a lot of people end up with an agent or a broker whose sole interest, and there's a lot of really good ones out there, and it's a very specific field with great people, but the primary interest is selling your business. And the primary interest is not necessarily you getting the right deal, the best value. It's you selling your business, right? An advisor's role is much different. And in fact, not to divulge proprietary information, but my first job with Matt Diggity was to tell him, kill that deal that you're trying to do because here's A, B, and C of why you shouldn't do it. And in hindsight, very risky. Our relationship would have been very different if we killed that deal and there was nothing else that materialized. In hindsight, I was right and it worked out well. So an advisor's role is always look out for you, your interests. And I always come back to value. Is the value there? Is the value fair? Is it a good deal? Is it not a good deal? How can we make it better? And then finding a path through the woods is the advisor's role. Once you get through the woods, it's the broker's job to get the deal done. Arriving at the right deal is the advisor's job. So an important distinction.
I think you touched upon something that maybe I'm realizing from my own experience. I don't think it's difficult to find a really good SEO. Like you look at the people that you think about when it comes to SEO, there's the Ferry Cazonis, Matt Diggity, Kyle Roof. They're easy to find because they put themselves out there and then they share all this content. But I don't really think that there's a ton of content on the advisory side. It's like this mysterious market that you can't touch or see. And I'm just wondering if this is why people run into these situations where it's like, look at my situation the last couple of years. I did have people say, hey, they wanted to be our advisor, but we waited. And we had all sorts of offers, like people that I felt wanted way too much equity. And then we don't know which direction we're going in. And maybe this is like a new marketplace out here.
Yeah, the SEO, some of the names you named are clients of mine. The reality is that there are a lot of part of what has really inspired me and drawn me to the SEO industry is the entrepreneurial spirit of every agency, every owner, every business that's there. There's youth, energy, vigor, all built around, I own my own business. I'm captain of my own ship and it's all on me. There's a whole different world out there that is the corporate 9 to 5. I've got good benefits. I've got a stable paycheck and it's just a different mindset. So the energy of that small business is everywhere in SEO. And as you look around, most industries, there are a few giants, billion-dollar companies, multi-billion-dollar companies. If you look around SEO, what are the biggest companies? 10 million, 15 million, $20 million? There's $20 million is a big company in SEO, right? So is very exciting to have so many different people involved in their own ownership interest of those businesses that I think there's a real opportunity for helping out. The challenge is that all of those businesses, not all of them, but many of them, bootstrapping, trying to make it work month in and month out. And it's hard to be able to come up with the money every month to get into an advisory structure. And then the alternative is giving up equity, which my advice to everybody, every business owner is held on to equity as long as you possibly can, unless you're getting more value than what that equity is currently and potentially worth. It's a double-edged sword. You give up equity, you're potentially giving up a lot more money. You don't have the month in, month out cash flow to bring in the right advisor. It's a challenge.
And it's not like it's an SEO campaign that you can try. And if it fails, you just like move on. When you're dealing with equity, you make a mistake. I believe that sometimes the wrong mistakes will actually sink a company.
Yeah, it's not uncommon to do desperate things at desperate times, and it can cloud your judgment. And suddenly you find yourself with the wrong partner. And there's nothing that'll sink a ship more than a bad partnership. That that positive energy is gone. Everybody's dreading the enterprise, and it's just hard to make anything work in that kind of structure. So, yeah, there's actually in one of Diggity's businesses, the affiliate lab. I'm guest host on one of his courses that's actually launching, I think, next week, all about joint ventures and picking the right partner. So there's like a quarter of the time is spent talking about the right structure, the right partner. You need to find the right partners. You need to find the right structure. And if you misstep on that, it could potentially throw the train completely off the tracks. I agree with you.
Yeah. And again, like I wish I seen this content 10 years ago when getting started with actually setting up partnerships. So it's not a lot of content on there. Like you can technically find it, but I mean, whatever you're going to find in YouTube, I think you're just going to find a couple of good things, but in a pile of a hot mess. And it's good luck trying to sift through the real good content.
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of it is, so as I look around, I see a bajillion life coaches, and I'll use air quotes, life coaches. There are even more big business consultants who can help you reorganize and re-energize your 1,000-person company. The resources for small business coaches, small business owners. So SVO, small business owner, is an area that I believe is underserved. The stuff that's out there, get an ebook on being a small business owner. Great. Here's more AI content thrown at you at $2.99. And open up a fortune cookie. You're going to have better luck, right? So we have spent a lot of time and energy trying to really get very good human developed content courses, classes that are geared to small business owners. Cause I've been there, from everywhere from one-man startup where I'm the janitor and the receptionist and the CEO all at the same time, to experience where I was the worldwide division general manager for $70 billion Panasonic. From one to tens of thousands, I've lived it. And I said earlier that more than business intelligence is business wisdom. And that's what I'm really looking to help bring in a cost-effective manner. Because we talked earlier about the barrier to having that kind of advice and support is cost. But try to do it in a more cost-effective manner that can reach a much broader audience is the idea behind this new project.
It's interesting. You said there's tens of thousands, if not probably millions of life coaches. I think they're everywhere and they exist all on Instagram and all that. I used to do affiliate coaching and I actually enjoyed the work, but maybe it was my own way of not executing it properly in terms of I had one business partnership that worked out, but then I had a couple in the corner where these people were just taking advantage of my time. And it wasn't like you paid to get access. It was meant to be like a sub-affiliate commission. If they made money, I made money. But I'm starting to think with the work you're doing, maybe there still is a market for affiliate coaching. And I mean, to be very honest, if I just looked at Matt Diggity's playbook from day one, I probably should have just copied that and said, hey, here's something that is clearly working well.
Yeah. Hey, the model is great. The challenge is execution. You go to his YouTube channel and it's just end to end, lots of stuff that is not going to happen overnight. And so you reach a point where there's a scale to it that, how do you compete? But there's an old saying, how do you eat an elephant? The only answer is one bite at a time, right? So you can't say, oh man, I don't have 1,000 videos on my YouTube channel. take a bite, chew, swallow. Now you only need 999. So that day by day, step by step is important to keep in mind.
That's definitely one thing that I made mistakes early on in my affiliate journey. It's I wanted to do everything and then I got impatient and yeah, like with people like Matt, that's clearly one signature of success they have is compounding stuff over time. I think maybe it's me, maybe it's a lot of other people, but I think everyone in affiliate marketing, when they're sold on the idea, they get excited about getting into the space. All right. They want the million with the minimal effort.
And effort is key there because we're talking a lot about Matt Diggity, but it's worth talking about because it's a model for a lot of people out there to see what he's done. I have met few people that work as hard as he did, who are in position to not really have to work that hard anymore, but still works harder than he did when he began. I think my calendar is full. I look at his calendar and it's like, man, what the hell are you doing? But that effort, that drive is either ingrained or it's not. And if it's not, and you have dreams and aspirations of X, Y, and Z, if you're not prepared to put in the efforts, reset your expectations. It's okay. It's okay to not achieve what other people are achieving and have a different work-life balance, live a different lifestyle, enjoy canoeing more than other people. Out of thin air, there's no judgment on what makes a good life for you, but don't set yourself up to fail based on expectations that are unrealistic. You know yourself better than anyone else does, right? So you've got to set your expectations relative to your skills, your willingness to learn, and your effort and desire. It's not rocket science.
And I would still attribute like guys like Matt and a few other people. I'm pretty sure they love what they do. If they didn't, I think they'd definitely jump ship and find something else.
Yes, no doubt. And as I said earlier, as part of what I found so appealing about the SEO industry is everyone loves it. They love what they're doing. A lot of these guys would shove a pen in their eye if they had to work a 9 to 5 in a big corporate cubicle farm. That part of the energy is what I really enjoy about SEO.
Staying on topic with SEO, but pivoting a little bit. One thing in the SEO space that I don't see a lot of is sweat equity. Like people saying, hey, rather than taking money for SEO consulting, it's can I take a cut of your business? And I've seen it on both sides of the fence. I've seen it where SEOs will do work and they get frustrated with clients that don't do what they're supposed to do because it's a two-way street. But what's your thought on this as a business model? Do you think there's going to be more of this kind of investing in companies as a means of saying, we're investing by giving you SEO?
Yeah. So specific, and again, I'm referring to the video that's coming out next week on one of Mac's courses. Developed a program called a convertible recoupable shared interest model, where it's set up to allow agencies to offer their traditional agency services and at some point convert some of the fees and bonuses that are built into it into equity in their client business. So the concept is you're not changing anything you're doing, but it's a creative way to allow partnerships to blossom without a lot of risk. If the relationship's going well, everyone's happy, everyone sees a bright future, you have an opportunity to convert some of the money that's been paid by your client into equity. Your client gets a rebate on money they've paid and has a new partner. And now the agency has a vested interest in making sure that client's business does really well. So it ends up as win for everybody without this idea of give me equity and I'll give you service. That's going to be a hard one to really get done on day one of any relationship. You need to develop the relationship. It's got to be trust. It's got to be respect. It's got to be mutual understanding of value from both sides. And I think that equity is a great way to grow your portfolio of business interests. The business owner that has an SEO agency getting a little bite of a lot of different pies is as good as starting a whole new pie by themselves.
It seems like the further I dig into some of these SEO agencies where I know they invest in companies, are you seeing more established agencies going, hey, we want to get into this new layer of business where like the equity game could be like really lucrative?
Yeah, the M&A piece of it, with most of my clients on the advisory side, phase one is always clarity of purpose. What is it that you want at the end of the day? When the end credits roll on the movie, what do you want that ending? Right? Start there. And I always refer to it as your car's GPS. It doesn't say, how many left turns do you want to make? It says, where do you want to go? Right? But you got to start with the destination before you can figure out how my day get. So the M&A side, there's a lot of people who are very anxious to build it to a certain level, don't take that and go to something else, right? But if that's your path, that's your desired path, you've got to know that you've got to build to that and you have to intentionally work your business to that goal. There's other people that don't feel the need to cash something out. They love what they're doing. They love their partners. They love their clients. They love their industry and just want to nurture it, grow it. The difference between an apple orchard that is built for commercial purpose to strip it every year and sell it versus, hey, this is for my family, it's for my friends, I want to can there, I want to build, make pies. It's just a different mindset. So that clarity of purpose is vital at the beginning of it. And then if there's a role at some point to bring in partners, bring in other equity. So again, this is the clarity of purpose. I want to be a $10 million business. Okay. Why $10 million? Because X, Y, and Z, these guys have done it and I think I can do what they've done. Or my grandfather built a $10 million business by the time he was 50 and I want to do it by the time I'm 40. I'm just pulling examples out of the air, but this is the kind of stuff that's in people's heads. And so being clear on what it is that you're trying to do is vital to figuring out how to do it. Some people want to build a business up to a certain level, and then they realize that it's never going to grow beyond this plateau without some infusion of capital. And if you want to be a $10 million business and you're plateaued at 2 million, and you're not going to get beyond 2 without a big capital infusion, you got to put some kind of equity option on the table, right? And that means, hey, I'm going to go, how am I going to capitalize it? I can go borrow money. I can do family friends. I can find a potential acquisitor that wants to see me to the next level, or do get an equity investment and give out X% equity in my business. It all is there, but it's coming back to what is it you want to do and what is it you want to do? What's your destination? I don't know. I wandered around there, but hopefully that made sense.
Now, there's definitely a lot to unpack there. I'm really interested now in that course you put in for the affiliate lab, so might have to join just for that.
So I'll make sure I tell Daisy I need a commission.
Yeah, we'll find a way to put a link in there.
Uh,
So on the last question, when I was talking about sweat equity for SEO, I want to take this concept and shift it over to the affiliate network space. So your typical affiliate network works like this. Like they organize a bunch of brands or products and services. They do it at scale. And you as the affiliate or the publisher, you have one affiliate manager. You get paid from one company rather than having to deal with 400 different affiliate programs. And typically they can give you a better deal. Like it depends on the niche in affiliate marketing. But do you think there's an opportunity for the affiliate network side to be involved in maybe some sort of sweat equity or something? Because in theory, if you're the affiliate network and your affiliates are making more money, you're technically incentivized to help them grow. If your affiliate network, if your publishers start to sink in revenue, you're sinking in revenue. You're actually at risk of going out of business. So I don't think I've seen this concept before, but I want to get your take on it.
yeah, I guess that my initial take is that if you are doing affiliate marketing, you have sweat equity because your work is converted into commissions. And there is no greater sweat equity than the commission. Something sells, you get a piece of it. that is not traditionally thinking of it as equity in terms of ownership and an entity. There's a lot of deals that we do that don't involve any kind of share or interest in the entity itself, but are more driven to profit share, revenue share, some kind of cut, some kind of growth incentives. To me, equity at the end of the day, unless it's a business that's going to be sold, right, at some point in time, equity just means you're getting a share of proceeds of the business. And if you're interested in having a piece of something that is eventually going to be part of an M&A or liquidity event, then yeah, equity is important. If this is just going to be an ongoing business, if you're in affiliate marketing, you have equity in the business already because you get a piece of every sale. So the question would be, how can you add value to your role to increase the percentage you're getting? Because like I said, you've already got equity. So how do you get more equity? I think is the question versus how do you get shares in a business? It's how do I increase my revenue or profit share on the business that they're doing?
Because I look at this from a different point of view, like an idea I had many years ago. So when I was doing sweat equity for an affiliate site, my responsibility there was to do their SEO and their design. So I did that for almost 10 years and it worked out pretty well. And it just gave me that full circle idea about going, okay, sweat equity for SEO. But when I think about it from a network point of view, I just think that no one's really crossed that boundary. And it's exactly what you just said. It's still revenue share. It's like a form of equity without the actual complicated contract. Now, if you want to throw a really messy intellectual property or ownership contract in the mix, you can, but it's not necessary. But I just think that this is a prime opportunity to say, if I'm an affiliate network and I've got, let's say, 1,000 publishers, and they're generating, let's say, 5 million per month, like I'm technically would be incentivized to actually hire an SEO team and say, how can we help out all these people? Who can we actually optimize? I just think there's a bigger opportunity to take an agency concept and go, let's plug it into here. You can trade it. It goes back to the contract you were talking about.
Right. There's always getting a little more organizational theory now and supply chain theory, but the value added chain is upstream and downstream, right? You've got vendors, you've got customers, right? And there's always ways to expand your interests upstream or downstream. If it's through this program I was talking about earlier about the convertible recoupable program, that is from your customers, right? And trading your service into some form of equity in your customer downstream. There's also upstream. Hey, if I do X, Y, and Z, can I get some equity in your total business? Because I may not be your only agency that is reselling or representing. You may have other projects going on that would be a good way for me to diversify my business. So if I give you 5% instead of 4%, I don't know, making numbers up, can you then trade me out some revenue share on your total business? Then it's a math exercise. What does 1% of the business I'm doing with you mean as a percent of my total business? And there you've got some equitable measure of what's that trade-off worth, right? And then you want to have the agency with their vendors having some level of interest in making sure that they can expand their total business and not just what they're doing here, right? So the best place to go when you are looking at any kind of partnership or equity is within your existing value added chain. Your customers want you to succeed and do better because then they have better stuff. Your vendors want you to succeed because then they have a better sales team, right? Looking within your own ecosystem is a good place to start before you start venturing off into someone who doesn't know anything about what you do, or someone who's just looking at raw numbers isn't going to have the full picture.
Yeah, I think I'm connecting the dots. So going back to that hypothetical situation, if I owned an affiliate network, in theory, I would have been working with my affiliates or publishers potentially for years. So I would know them very well. And if I'm someone who's networked within the SEO space and I can trust companies like Authority Builders or like just the search intelligence, all these different agencies, it's like you're bringing the best of both worlds because those two people on either side might not know each other, but that would be my advantage by having the connections and going, I know these people are actually going to deliver what they say they will.
Right. Yeah. It's, we talked earlier about you've got to have that trust. You've got to have that history and the trust is another topic in that video that's coming is trust. And usually that's one where history and experience is really what builds that. It doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah, it takes time. I'm doing it through this podcast, so that's one of my go-to markets for trust, if that's a thing.
Yeah. People need to know you.
Yeah, it helps. All right. So before we started recording, we were talking about the SBO, so it's small business owner. And your background at the very beginning is you're coming from like the corporate world, billions of dollars of transactions. So how would you say this translates, like your experience to be able to pass that on to this? It doesn't matter if it's affiliate or SEO, like we're small people on this side. What are some of the things that you're able to pass on as saying, hey, I've got all this knowledge and experience. This is how you translate this for success.
Yeah. So the interlaced with my big corporate experience, and it's funny the way it worked out. It was like a sandwich. There was always a layer of entrepreneurial meat between each slice of corporate bread. And so I have been starting and running businesses since I was in my early 20s, and now in my early 60s. So 40 years of business experience, like I said earlier, from very small to the biggest of big. And the ones that were the most gratifying and fulfilling were the small, right? And then in the past 4 years, 5 years, the work I've been doing in SEO has really grounded me back into that small business owner mentality. So the SVO, as we're calling them, all have their own individual business journey is unique. No one has the same business journey. And every SVO has their own path to walk, but there are universal type guidance that can help everyone. So really the way we've built out the program is focused by stage, right? So it's going to be, I'm thinking about starting a new business. And here in the US, we've got this election coming up where one of the promises made by one of the candidates is we're going to incentivize new businesses, right? So if you start a new business, and so if that plays out, there's going to be a lot of people looking to start a new business who have been in the corporate world their whole life or have never started a business that need to know the ABCs of what the hell do I need to do to start a business. So phase one is always, I'm thinking about starting a business. That is, I recently started a business and now I'm trying to figure it all out. I've got a good business. It's growing. Success is never final, and growth brings with it its own set of problems. So that there's a set of issues at that stage of your business. There's a stage of, hey, I've been doing this a long time. Our business is really successful. I'm ready for transition. And that could be, I want to get out. I want to go buy my competitor so that I can double my business. I want to diversify into other markets. So that transition phase is the next one there. And then the final chapter we've got that's available there is times of crisis. I've got a lot of troubles. I've got a lot of issues. I got a lot of problems. In each of those 5 situations, there's a different set of stuff that you need to know, right? And so we're trying to make it as simple and digestible as possible to really get focused on your particular stage. There's not one universal, hey, you own a business, you're all the same. Everybody's different, and you're in one of those stages of your evolution. So here's some core components that help you out. And then beyond that, if we need to do some coursework, we've got courses again suited to each of those stages. So we've set it up as the traditional college coursework goes 101, 201, 301, 401, right? So we've got BizLab 101, which is just all of the BizLab series is free. So we want to encourage and help people in a very friendly and accepting manner, right? People are afraid to ask simple questions for seeming like they really don't know what's going on. How can you own a business if you don't know? That's not our response. There's no dumb questions. So we've set up this BizLab series, 101, 201, 301, 401, and 911, which is for those emergency situations that each cater to those particular stages of the evolution. Those are all free online classes that we do in a group setting. If you need to dive in more, then there's coursework, which is again group coursework. It's a 6-week course. And we're going to, in a group, go through a lot of details. And then there's a lot of offline work that's got to be done. And then at another stage, if you need individual coaching, then that's a different project, but that's available as well to focus on you individually specifically. So that's how we've got the pyramid set up from, hey, I just want some free general advice on my situation in this particular state. And we find that peer-to-peer networking and communication brings great support and release, right? Someone asks a question, someone else in there says, I was thinking that too, right? I'm not alone. And I'm not alone is part of the underlying theme here. And it's very easy as an SBO to get into a solitary, I've got the responsibility of the world on my shoulders. I've got 6 employees. All of their families rely on my business. None of them really know the financial situation. None of them know I got my house on the line. It's a lonely place. And so when you juxtapose that sensation of loneliness with the fact that 99.9% of all the businesses in the US are small businesses, you are part of the majority, super majority. And so being able to feel that experience, that network, that, and feel that peer-to-peer connection and know that you're not alone is probably the most enjoyable part for me, is to see that sense of relief that I'm not alone. I'm not in this alone. And so that is kind of what we're trying to do. The free classes are really built to, obviously, as a funnel, because we'd love to do more work with you, but as service, I've had a very good career and am thankful for what I have. And if there's an hour of my time a week that can go to helping other people much younger, not quite there on their path, find a path through the woods, then that's well worth it.
Yeah, I agree. Like I know in the journey of what I had to do in helping start up the startup, there's technically a lot of content, but it's that the communities, they're all just in different directions. There's too many voices, and I think it's very difficult to get like anyone's one-on-one time. And even if you do, it's the voices you get come in every single direction. Oh, you need to do more sales or sales-led growth, and then you've got the product-led growth people over here, and then you've got marketing and SEO, and yeah, can't please everyone, but I think people suffer from analysis paralysis and not having a community.
Yeah. And the other factor that you see is the idea that an SVO needs to, at least to his employees, to his customers, everybody, really appear to be the authority, the one who knows what's going on, the one that knows where we're going, the one that has total control of it. That confidence that you need to inspire your customers, vendors, and employees leads down a path of know-it-all, right? And you have to give the aura of know-it-all, but you can't buy your own press clippings that you know it all. If you think you know it all, you're on a dead-end street because you can't learn, you can't grow, you can't take advice, you can't correct yourself. And those are all things that are vital to getting your business to the next level.
I agree. What you said like a short while ago was like even like asking the dumb questions. And I think what a lot of business owners get is they're worried about asking the dumb question or feeling stupid or not know what they're doing. And I basically tell everyone, I'm like, this is what I love about this podcast. I could ask the dumb questions, go, well, I don't know this. And it's one way for me to learn. And it's one of the best ways.
Yeah. There is nothing wrong with the phrase, I don't know. And you'd be amazed how many people just can't say that. I said at the outset of this that I'm somehow in the middle of all these SEO movers and shakers, knowing very little about SEO. So but openly said, I have no idea what you guys were just talking about, but here's my thoughts on the business impact. And knowing what you don't know and the stuff you don't know, trying to gather some knowledge on how you can learn it.
We at least know that by hanging with some SEOs enough.
I've at least seen behind the curtain.
Yeah. And then to wrap it up, what do you see of the future of affiliate marketing as it intersects with business intelligence?
Yeah, so here I have to rely on the SEO experts that I happen to hang out with. And I think that affiliate marketing, as I've heard, is on, as we've noted, historically, is on a receding path. And so everyone needs to reconfigure their business. And a lot of it's due to Google. I think we all understand. And AI has something to do with that now, where every search in Google starts with the automated AI option. And then there's now more sponsored links that are there as responses. So you're now down to the bottom of that first page, even if you got everything right. A lot of movement, especially in younger generations, to social media and not so much web search. Videos, YouTube, or if you're not figuring out how to make the video and YouTube side of your business work, it's going to be a steep hill to climb. And if there's a way to figure out how to bring SaaS into your equation, that has a very long runway still of opportunity. And the beauty of SaaS is the register rings when you fleet. And those are business models that everybody should aspire to. Don't know if that's helpful and not a lot of detail, but I think that's the lay of the land that I'm hearing.
Honestly, I think more about SEO than a lot of affiliates I've talked to. I'm just going to take the last clip of what you said, because everything from social to how people are searching to productizing, I've been saying this for a little while, but I'm only saying it because I get to, like I said, ask the dumb questions to the SEO experts. More people need to hear that.
Yeah, good. I mean, wouldn't label myself an SEO expert, but was the on TV or the commercial. I'm not a doctor, but I'll play one on TV.
Exactly.
Not an SEO expert, but I'm around a lot of them.
Yeah, you're an SEO in my book. Lou, thanks so much for doing this. I want to pass it back to you, how people can get a hold of you. And of course, we'll mention the Affiliate Lab course.
Yeah. So the Affiliate Lab course is part of Matt Diggity's business ecosystem. That one is a subscription based. I'm guest hosting a course on joint ventures and partnerships. I think that breaks next week. You can get a hold of me under the new SBO Coach venture, which is coach@sbocoach.com. The website is undergoing some final here, so that should be up and running here in the next couple of weeks. And that's sbocoach.com. And then we'd love to hear from anyone that is interested in how we can help on their business journey.
Awesome. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thanks, John.
Thank you for tuning in to the Affiliate BI podcast. I'd like to take this time to ask for a small favor to leave a rating and review wherever you listen to your podcast. That helps us expand our reach to rank higher in podcast directories and reach more listeners.